Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Speak Easy with Love. I'm Joanna Trey Love, your Miss Woman United States. And I am so blessed to spend yet another afternoon with a beautiful queen and gorgeous soul. I have had the privilege to work alongside this young lady for almost 2 years as we shared our passion and put our best foot forward and shined in the same grace of just purpose. And so, gosh, I could go on and on, but I'm going to give her a moment to share with you who she is and tell us a little bit about what is lighting up her soul these days. Go ahead.
Thank you so
Give it
much,
away.
Joanna, for the introduction. Hello, everybody. My name is Millie Gergis. I'm your reigning Ms. California, United States 2021. And I love how Joanna always opens up this show. I think that, really just one of my favorite things the past couple of years, as she mentioned, has been getting to know each other. And I know that we don't always spend as much time together as I think either of us would like, because she lives a crazy busy life, as do I, as do us all. But what is so wonderful, not only about the pageant, as well as this broadcast, is that we are getting to spend that quality time a little bit more than we would on just any other day. So, one of the things that, Joanna, you were asking me is to share a bit about what has been lighting my soul up. And in the recent months, really, it hasn't even been a full year having been diagnosed with Lyme disease. That for me has become a really huge passion, is shining that light on it.
What is Lyme disease?
Great question. I didn't know either. So it's
You
actually,
hear about it,
yeah,
from in passing, but you know, beyond what Google is going to tell us.
sure. Well,
What
what
is it
Google
really,
tells
and
me,
what does it
what
feel like? What is what we should know about this?
Yeah, it's the fastest growing vector-borne illness in the United States. That might sound like a bunch of mumbo jumbo to everybody. It sure did to me when I first heard it. But the reason that that's actually a very important fact is that we are seeing Lyme cases across the country, not only growing at an incredibly rapid pace, but actually showing up in areas geographically that previously it has not. So what that meant for me, I'm one of those first probably diagnosed Southern California cases. We don't know exactly where I contracted it, exactly when I contracted it, but we do know, yeah, it's been about 5 years that I've had the symptoms. And I am an avid hiker. I camp a lot in the outdoors. There was a period about 5 years ago when I was going to a national park almost every other week. That was my,
Wow.
yeah, it was very exciting, actually. I was really
Yeah,
looking
good for
forward to it.
you.
Yeah, but in that time frame, we're pretty certain that I contracted Lyme disease, which, by the way, is transmitted by ticks. So that's really what the vector-borne illness. It is from usually the back-legged deer tick in the east, and now we actually have a couple of new species that have showed up in Southern California for the first time.
So it's like a bite.
Yes.
Is that okay? So you were bit by a tick,
Mhm.
and now you have symptoms that show up like what?
Oh my goodness, it's been crazy. It started out, so when I first started having such strange symptoms, it was really, I was in a car accident as well, so I don't know if the migraines are fully related to the Lyme. We're trying to treat it and
Mhm.
sort of see what does subside and what might be from the car accident, but I started getting really debilitating migraines. And that for a lot of Lyme patients is prevalent. So for me, it's hopefully not, but maybe so, the migraines, which I have to take a daily medication for. There was a time I was hospitalized for over 2 weeks with just one
Wow.
migraine. Yeah, bedbound for 2 weeks, lost
So
30
what
pounds.
causes the migraine?
We don't actually fully know. I've been able to control my stress levels. So migraines in and of themselves, as any other chronic migrainer will tell you, they have all kinds of triggers. You just kind of have to learn to identify for yourself what those are within your own body. For me, there are certain foods I have to stay away from: nitrates, nitrites. So if anybody hands me a glass of wine, I'm always very suspicious of what's in it.
Yeah.
Cured meats, even anything with preservatives. And really beyond that, even another one for me, we found out there's a protein called lycopene that exists in
Mhm.
watermelon. So I can't eat or consume watermelon either. That's another trigger for
And
me.
this is all a side effect of the Lyme disease?
Potentially, we don't fully know. I mean, it could have been, again, I was in this car accident, just a couple of really bad. I don't know what it was about that one year. It was 2015, 2016 that all of this started happening. But it's as I've been taking my antibiotic regimen for the Lyme, I have noticed that the migraines have lessened. So I'm not going to fully know until I'm in remission if it was a true result of that, or if just life
Wow.
will be a couple extra curveballs in there.
So what is that you had made mention just now, an antibiotic regime?
Yes.
What
So
is that?
yeah, it's different for everybody. So when you find out, and typically the only way to do this, it's different state by state, by the way, Joanna, how you treat Lyme disease. The protocols unfortunately are not federalized.
Are the ticks different?
The ticks are different. The ticks are
Oh,
different, and you
okay.
can get different kinds of co-infections. You can have Lyme disease. You can have multiple different strains of Lyme disease, which I actually had. I tested reactive for 3, as well as one of the overarching
What?
reactive. Yeah. So you
Now, do you have like a site, like a bug bite that you know of, or is this just
no, I mean, that's the other crazy thing about it, is that a lot of people actually don't even know they were ever bitten. And that was me. I didn't know. I mean, I have had, of course, a myriad of bug bites. I've hiked in the Rockies.
here? I'm
Again,
with them right now just from traveling back, south. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I had a nasty spider bite actually a few weeks back, right before my state pageant. It was literally 2 days before. And again, not sure if it's the Lyme, which this is also very common with Lyme patients. But for me, I experience significant brain fog. There is slurring of my words, which I just did a little bit of,
Mhm.
and even tinnitus. So the chronic ringing in your ears that people will often
Wow.
get from trauma to the ear, which I now can add to my list, my laundry list.
Wow. So, okay, I'm going to write this down for those that would
Please.
like to know. What are what are the like top 10 symptoms?
The ones that I have experienced, as well as just other Lymees, as we call ourselves, that I've been chatting with and I've connected with through Project Lyme, I think that the migraines or headaches, that's 1 and 2.
Okay.
Beyond that, extreme fatigue. So for me, part of the reason that I went to see another specialist was that, I wasn't diagnosed with the Lyme at all. No one even thought to test me for it. And the fatigue was such that I could sleep for 6 hours or 12 hours in the day and feel just as exhausted in either. I've tried everything with my sleep regimen to alter it to make me feel not as tired. And the fatigue continues. So fatigue is another one that's high on the list. I'd say 95% of Lymees do experience it. Another one is muscle aches or bone pain. So you really do feel it in your joints as well.
Flakes. Okay.
Yeah, that's another one. The tinnitus or tinnitus. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I never know which way to go with it. That's a lesser common one, but it is also there. And then the brain fog, lack of ability to focus. That for me, I was never diagnosed with ADHD, ADD. I've never had problems focusing, but I did have significant problems starting to just focus in. That was another thing that was a neurological symptom that I've experienced in the past year. And I think that's 5 so far. Is that right?
Let's see what we got. And bless my sweet soul's heart. I'm just gonna love on me for a second. I decided, my goodness, nationals is coming. I'm gonna grow my nails out. This is a great idea. Look at how glamorous they look.
They do. They look
They
amazing.
have absolutely no essential need because I can't type and I can't like
Oh, you see
call
these?
anyone on the phone. I mean, they look great, but they have no purpose. So
They
give
give
me
you
a moment while I try to type because I'm having issues.
okay. That's totally fine.
Problems.
Honestly, that's why I usually have a pen and paper next to me at work. Because if I'm trying to type notes, I am like a chipmunk, or I don't
I'm
know.
just
Think
like
of it.
pluck, 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 right?
Yeah.
So Okay, so we have migraines, which I'm pretty sure I said twice and spelled it wrong twice in a
Oh,
row.
that's fine. That's what
We have
auto check is for.
headaches, fatigue, muscle aches, joint aches, brain fog, and what else?
Another one for me that I actually had already mentioned was the slurring of words. So that, of course, is incredibly worrisome for people. You know, losing that track of thought and not being fully able to articulate myself. Not only is it important with, you know, the shiny hat I'm wearing, but in general, I present a lot. You know, I'm a financial advisor. I not only that, I think you guys could probably see if you check out my Instagram story. I actually have two positions because the expenses from my medical bills just skyrocketed this year. I had to take another position.
Wow.
And so I'm, you know, constantly called upon to do presentations at work. Both of my positions, you know, one of which I'm an underwriter with AIG. The second one, I'm an advisor as well. So it really is difficult for me. Sometimes I'll be sitting in on meetings and either feel like I'm about to faint. So then there's another one for you, faintness.
Wow.
Um, you know, and I just have to take a minute and gather my thoughts and collect myself and let the other person on the end of the line know, you know, I'm really sorry. Just have to gather myself for a minute here, take a sip of water, and then push through as best I can.
Now, tell me something. With this Lyme disease, does it go away? Is it treatable? Is it curable?
We haven't had anyone say that there's a cure. Any physician who tells you that is actually misspeaking. The best that you can hope for is to go into remission with your Lyme. And so, and exactly, I know that you were asking about the medications, right? The antibiotic protocols. That's the best that the CDC has at the moment. So, the best response and our, again, unfederalized response in terms of how physicians treat is once you are found to be reactive, you are put on some kind of a long-term regimen of antibiotics to get that Lyme disease into an in-reactive state in your body. And you know, for some people that can take a month. It depends on how quick you catch it. For me, I've been on minocycline, actually a double dose of that for 100 milligrams twice a day for the past 3 months. I just did my blood work this past month, and so we'll see if any of my strains have gone unreactive. But again, there really isn't a standard procedure.
And are there any side effects to your antibiotic or anything, comorbidities that exist that now you're combating because of, that's the one thing about Western medicine is you take something to treat a symptom, but then you're treating something from the medication. What is the cause and effect there?
Yeah, well, again, right before the state pageant, I had been put on actually 2 different strains of antibiotic. The reason for that was that one of my co-infections was, and again, this is actually something that is also common for Lyme's, is to have a mold infection of some sort. So I also had I forget the strain, so don't ask. Not sure, but I did also have that mold infection. And the first antibiotic I was put on in conjunction with the minocycline caused me to break out in a rash across my face, which that was the day before I had interviews for the state pageant.
Yeah. So what, I hear the symptoms and I hear the prognosis, what you're doing to, work through it. But what does it feel, emotionally? I mean, as a woman, we are just creatures of emotions. We're created by our emotions and our feels and our hormones. And, how are you? How do you feel? How you doing?
You know, I feel torn. I
Mhm.
initially felt incredibly vindicated by the diagnosis because, of course, you know, for 5 years, I was made to feel by all kinds of different specialists. Oh, it's, you know, I have a low thyroid count now, right? So there was the hypothyroidism that was in there. It's like, I know you were asking
And
me
is
to
that
listen.
is that a result of what's going on, or is that just
Yeah,
sort of something?
that
Oh,
one is, yeah. So that's actually, you can add that to the symptom checklist. I know I keep having to think through all of them because there really is a lot that I've been tackling simultaneously, but hypothyroidism was another issue. And so, you know, my primary care physician just said, oh, well, you know, you have a low acting thyroid, let's give you synthetic hormone to replace it. And didn't really read into the panels any further to diagnose, what is the root cause? Why are
Right.
all of a sudden somebody who's been healthy for 28, 29 years, and know, by the way, family history of anyone in my family having hypothyroidism, which is one of the first things you should, kind of explore as a physician. Having that, he just kind of said, oh, let's replace it. And, it wasn't until I went to this specialist who said, look, there's the Lyme, there's the migraines, there is the hypothyroidism, which actually you're taking the wrong thyroid hormone for it. We need to replace your reverse T3. And, it just really, again, that feeling of vindication, like, yes, I knew there was a deeper cause, and there was just not one doctor that would listen to me until I went and sought out my own, alternative therapy for what I now found out and confirmed was Lyme disease. So vindicated.
How was this diagnosed? Was it a specific doctor? Was
Yeah.
it a Western doctor, a naturopath? What doctor found this?
Yeah. So he is a medical practitioner down in Manhattan Beach. The group is called the Haltorf Group, and they do take a little bit of an alternative approach to medicine. I know that he has some osteo training and also comes from the traditional Western philosophy as well. But what he has seen, and the physician I'm referring to is Dr. Lawfer, Dr. Moses Lawfer at the Haltorf Group in Manhattan Beach. But what he has seen is that a lot of people with autoimmune illnesses, because that was, the initial reason I came in was, hey, this thyroid stuff isn't getting cleared up either. I'm still tired, I'm weak, I have brain fog, all these awful symptoms, and nothing is getting better. Maybe this guy can help. And that's really when he actually put the Lyme together. He ran, $2,000 of blood work. And by the way, Lyme disease isn't really covered by most insurance firms or companies. It's anyone that has ongoing or persistent Lyme disease, as we in the community call it. It's not recognized by any of the major insurance carriers. So you do have to pay out of pocket for everything. Yeah.
Wow. And when were you discovering this? Bill after bill?
Oh my gosh. No, right. Luckily, my mom is an RN. So we just kind of knew, I prepared myself and I said, look, I need to get better. Like, something needs to change. I can't just be, and there really are some days, Joanna, where I'll sleep 14 hours, because my body is just inflamed, exhausted. And you can see it in my face too. Even my colleagues are like, whoa, are you okay? You're not sounding right. And yeah, I feel physically drained and just awful. And, I'll sleep that 14 hours just because my body needs it, not necessarily because I'm, feeling rested or, happy to wake up the next day. Yeah.
So here you are working two positions, high-powered positions. That's the one thing that, and let's just take a moment and talk about your career. I think the one thing that I've always really admired about you from the first day that we met practicing our walks from this West Coast was you sharing with me what you did and what a powerhouse you are. Not only are you just stunning and gorgeous, but you're smart and you're passionate and you're talented and you're a driven go-getter. So tell us about that. Tell us about, some of your education and the things that you do with your education and how you have inspired me and so many other women to be financially savvy and just powerhouses like you.
Absolutely. So it didn't start out that way. That's what everyone needs to know is I actually didn't get into financial services. That's not what I went to school for. I didn't think that this would ever be a field of interest for me. And I did my undergrad at New York.
Are you kidding me? You didn't go to school for this?
No.
What?
No.
This is why I'm so glad that we continue to talk. I'm always learning great things about you. Come on, bring it on.
Yeah. So I went to New York University. I moved to New York at 18. And say again?
Where are you from? Like, where are you born and raised?
I was born and raised in San Pedro, so the South Bay of Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you chose to go to New York?
Oh yeah. I knew hands down. I wanted an East Coast education.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, there was no question about it for me. I think because I also knew I could always come back home.
Yeah.
LA, always going to be here. I wanted to go out when I was 18, explore the world. And I was very blessed to do that. I got to attend one of the most prestigious universities in our country, but also in the world. Whenever I name drop NYU, people go all googly eyed, like, wow, you went to NYU? And, for me, I think what was really wonderful about that education and, going from West Coast to East Coast was a bit of a
Yeah,
challenge with the winters,
absolutely.
you
What
know,
a different moral compass you had.
definitely just a different perspective. But I knew that I wanted again to have just that variety of different voices around me, and
Mhm.
I can appreciate some people grow up in one place and they live there forever. That's actually a lot of the people that were around me that I grew up with, even my family. But for myself, I always knew that I could come back to that comfort. And so I wanted to meet other people and learn. And so I created my own degree at the Gallatin School of Individualized Study. I'm smiling because anyone who knows Gallatin, maybe there are a couple of you on the call, know that you actually create your own degree at Gallatin. So,
That's amazing. I didn't even know you could do that. Wow. So what
yeah,
did you create? What did you accomplish in that
well,
space?
here it comes. It's a long degree.
Drum roll, please.
It's loaded, yeah. um, the degree that I chose to create was Mediterranean cross culture, encompassing Southern European, Near Eastern, and Northern African studies. And the reason behind that was that I
What
know,
was that? Pray tell.
well, I felt, my family is from Croatia originally.
Okay.
And I always felt that the identity of being Mediterranean was very Eurocentric. And not only that, but very Southern Eurocentric, right? So if you come from Southern Europe and people call you Mediterranean, well, you must only be European. But the fact of the matter exists that there
Right.
are
Yeah.
a variety of people who identify as Mediterranean. And so I really wanted to look at that concept through the lens of art history. So that was my minor at NYU, was art history. And that was the field that I originally entered, was fine art. And so I took 8 different points of what I call cross-cultural monuments and different reference points around the Mediterranean to kind of postulate this connection between Southern European, Near Eastern, Northern African, and really that there was more of a symbiotic relationship than,
Uh-huh.
most of us consider that Mediterranean identity to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So with a degree like that, what was your goal then, leaving school for a career path? What did you want to do with that?
For years, I wanted to be a fine art conservator. So working
What
at,
is that?
yeah, I like to think of them as like doctors for art.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Okay.
if you're at the Getty or the Met, the individuals who, even you'll see sometimes, especially in Europe, you'll see this a lot when there are frescoes on either walls or ceilings, you'll see conservators actually cleaning the work, restoring it. That was what I wanted to do initially.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So here you are with all of this experience and wisdom from your education about art and your culture, and you leave New York and you come back home.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your first job?
I didn't know what I was going to do, so I went to grad school actually. So I came back home and said, Mom, know how I'm going to become a conservator. I don't even know how to look at the art world or get a gallery job or any of that. Can I just go to grad school? And so I did that instead.
Awesome. So what'd you go to grad school for?
So I went to Sotheby's Institute of Art and the Drucker School of Management for a master's in art business, which,
Okay.
so I guess I take back what I said before. I studied a little bit of finance, but it was, I was not a finance major by any means. It was very much looking at the commercial side of the fine art industry. I could have gone on actually to, from there, do another degree in art conservation, but really what happened was just during my time in this master's program with Sotheby's, I found a not only great group of friends, but a lot of professional resources. I moved to China to take an internship at Pearl Lam Galleries, which was, and also at the Propaganda Poster Art Museum out in Shanghai as well. And so spent time out there in the East. I don't speak a word of Mandarin other than xie xie, and then Zhuavian to tell people to go right. I don't know. I forgot how to say left, so I'd just be going in circles.
We're always going in the right direction. That's all we need to know.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And Yi Ba Yi was the 181 was my number on my street. That's it. So yeah,
So here you are making all these right turns, no pun intended, right? All these right decisions.
Yeah.
And which way pointed you in the direction of finance? Lead me in that direction.
I know. I keep going on the art trajectory. Well, the art market changed in about 2017. So I was working at the time as a gallery registrar here in Los Angeles at Night Gallery, which is a prestigious local gallery out in Boyle Heights area of Los Angeles. And, the market took a turn for the worse. And I think really, if you were to kind of look back at articles from that time, galleries were shuttering doors left and right. Fact of the matter is that there exists an art collector base in Los Angeles, but they don't always buy at galleries. And so actually got let go from my position. And for a year, was really struggling to find, what is going to be next in my life. I don't know what to do. And I kept applying to positions, and I just felt like, man, every door is being blocked. I need to switch gears entirely. And so I gave myself, get this is kind of crazy. I gave myself a month in which I was going to find a position outside of the art world, or I was going to move to Berlin. And
why Berlin?
There's an incredible art market there, and being a dual citizen as well. So I'm actually an American and a European citizen. So it was going to give me the ability. Yeah. So
okay, so you never made it to Berlin, I take it.
No, that in that month, the first position I applied to, I received an offer and a call back. And, I am somebody who I take the signs, I listen to the universe, I'm all about the woo-woo. And what was really crazy to me was that in this, what was it? Something like 11-month span of looking and searching and applying, and again, doors closed. Some open a bit, but then, closed again.
Yeah.
Not only did I receive that position, but I got a wonderful opportunity to work with a nonprofit that was putting together a fine art auction and benefit. So, I mean, it was crazy. Within, I think, 48 hours of these two calls, I was like, okay, listening to the universe. This is the sign, God. Thank you. I am staying in LA, and I'm going to be working on these two positions. And that's really where my passion for finance was born, because I got this entry level position. I, was trained by people who literally have been in the industry for 20 plus years, who make $500,000, if not more, a year doing this. And I loved being able to help people on a daily basis, which I wasn't doing in art.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how long were you with that nonprofit, or are you still tied to them?
Yeah. So I was with the nonprofit for 9 months. It was just to be the auction coordinator, essentially. So I was dealing with, shipments of art coming in from around the world. It was very much within my wheelhouse, and I enjoyed doing that, but it was never going to be a long-term thing. It was really just for that benefit. But it was, what I loved was creating that balance, learning that I could take both positions and come into my own in both spaces.
Right. So here you are, and now you're facing a new direction.
Yeah.
Where do you go from there? And how did that launching pad get you to now?
I just kept listening to the signs. I mean, what I think was, what I think was pretty incredible was initially, with a little bit of friction, right? I don't think that change is comfortable or exciting always. And that's, that's how life is.
It's always uncomfortable a little bit. It's got to be if you want to stretch.
Yeah. And so, I figured, hey, I kind of looked in this direction. I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep going in this direction, but what I was finding was that really financial services, much as I thought, people are kind of mean in finance, people are aggressive in finance, what I found was that I really was with the correct firm. And what that meant was on a daily basis, I was helping families. I was finding that I was checking off boxes that I didn't know I was looking for in a position.
Ah,
And that I think was really where the trajectory of my career just, I took a full 180 in the opposite direction from the art world. And what was great about it was that I realized that this could be an avenue for me to give back to the art community, as
mm,
opposed to me kind of struggling. And I mean, look, let's be real. While I love the art world, it is hard. It is hard as heck to get noticed. It is, you have to really, really want to be there because the pay is what it is. You have to kind of accept that. And once you have, if that's still the path for you, I am all for it. But for me, I think I wanted to make an impact in the art world. My dream still one day, and I always talked about this even when I was in the art world, was I want to open a space for artists where they can just show their work. And I'm not worried about the overhead, right? I don't need the commission. I want to make the connections for people and
yeah,
not have to worry about keeping the lights on at the same time.
yes,
And
yes,
so financial services gives me that opportunity. I'm not quite where I want to be yet, but the path is just, and it's gratifying on a daily basis, but it also, I see very much that in my future, whereas before, I wasn't independently wealthy. I've had to build everything that I've had. And so that was a huge turning point. Again, the checklist, right? Like all the
that's
check
right.
boxes. Yeah.
That's right. So, where are you today? What position are you fulfilling, and what are you passionate about, and where are you looking forward to with this passion?
Great question. So I am a junior broker out in West
What
Los
does that mean?
Angeles. Oh, great question. Just like with how can I explain this? If you're at a law firm, right, and you have
Okay.
kind of like your senior partners, your junior partners, your first year associates, financial services when you're on the private side of things, so pretty much like outside of a big Chase Bank or a Wells Fargo, when you're with an independent brokerage, what that means is that you're able to offer a lot of different services in house, and you obviously achieve different levels within that. So in our office, our structure is that we actually have 10 senior partners or brokers, as we call them, as well as a head broker at our office. And then I'm in the junior more rank. So not
Okay.
quite a senior broker yet, but almost there.
Very good. Very good. And what are your goals to do with this position? What kind of services do you offer, and where do you see yourself going from here?
Yeah, I mean, we do it all. What I love with this position is that I help people with things from budgeting to life insurance to saving for retirement, making sure also even that if they have debt, they're taken to the right services. I am not a debt consultant, but there are certain things that I can kick people out to. So what I
Yeah.
love about what I do is that it's a one-stop shop. It really is, in terms of being able to help families create a well-rounded financial future. And it's not just about the individual, right? So really for me, I kind of like to think of it as holistic medicine, right? Going on with the
The
doctor metaphor.
finances. Yeah, yeah, I feel
We
that.
the whole picture. And I want to have my own branch office one day. So I really am in the running within the leadership to do so, and it's just a matter of continuing to put in the hard work. And I mentor new talent at our firm, so I was one of the higher producers my first year as an associate, and my goal is to help others hit their goals next.
Amazing. And what, like, this last 18 months of our world and our life has been a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, if you
Yeah,
don't mind me saying.
great way to put it.
So, how has that affected people's finances? What are you seeing? What are you advising? Like, if you could give, people that are listening right now, what would be a piece of financial advice that you would offer?
Oh my goodness, it has been a challenge, and I think this past, exactly what you said, the cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, 18 months. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
what I think it has shown me the most is unfortunately just how underprepared the average American is for any kind of financial crisis. And, there were articles in Forbes published pre pandemic that said, majority of Americans, not only are they living paycheck to paycheck, but they're about $1,000 away from total financial ruin. And
Mm.
I don't think it was until the pandemic that people really would read an article like that or read a headline like that and that it would actually sink in. I know for myself, that certainly wasn't the case when I was in my early 20s. It was pretty much like, all right, made the money, pay the bills, and go have fun. I think that is how most people look at it. And it isn't until life kind of hits you in the face or punches you in the gut that you realize you really do have to get your house in order. And that the number one piece of advice that I give to people is live below your means. You know, People will often say, hey, live within your means. You need to live significantly below it. You need to be, especially for those of you guys who are younger listening to me today, and I hope you do, I want you guys to diversify. There's a really corny thing I do with all of my clients. I say, hey, just like your ABCs, remember your 1, 2, 3s. Between 1 and 3 million is what the average American is going to need to live on in retirement. So as long as you're keeping some of these things in mind, I could go into a whole talk about that alone. But those are, I think, the two key pieces of advice that I could give.
So how do you, I'm trying to write this down.
Yeah.
Or how do you suggest someone starts their road to retirement? When do you suggest they start planning for that?
Oh man, as early as humanly possible, which for most companies is going to be about 15 days of life on this earth, right? And for those of you who are maybe expecting children in the future, please start any kind of an account for your kid as early as possible. And that includes, by the way, investments and stuff at the bank, all of it. I think, again, that would be the recommended age. I know that realistically, that is not a majority of Americans. I didn't have something set up from 15 days old. I'm sure you didn't, Joanna.
Nope.
Yeah. And when a lot of people kind of become self-aware enough, it's never too early. Sometimes it is too late though. So if you're in your 20s on this call, even if you're a teenager, I would encourage you to start learning how to manage your own wealth. And at times you can have an advisor, of course, come in, but I think it is really critical. And this is a step that most Americans, I myself included, missed, is that you're not paying attention to where your money is and, what it's doing for you as opposed to what it's buying you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that those critical points, age I recommend is 15 days old, but whatever age you are on this call, please just open up something. Most
and what's, I mean, is that just it? Is it just about is managing your finances all about just saving? What is it? For me, like, I find everything that you're saying, like, I'm leaning in and I'm so inquisitive, but I also feel overwhelmed. So for someone that doesn't have the experience and the wisdom that you do to understand this, what would be like the, financial management for dummies, kind of way of looking at it? How does someone start to begin a road to success on the path for financial wealth and stability?
Yeah, it's a great question. Again, I love it. I love that we're digging into the meat of this. It's not just about saving. It's also about investing and making sure. This phrase actually came from the financial industry, which I didn't know until I got into the industry. But you shouldn't have all your eggs in one basket, right? So there are a lot of people who are only comfortable creating that nest egg in the bank because they see the number grow as they're adding the dollars in. And, unfortunately, in the long run, that is just not realistic. So a great place to start, and I think that this is about as like dummies as we can get, right? Like budgeting for dummies is a good starting point. And this isn't, this is something that I alter for my clients day in and day out, but the 50-30-20 rule is a fantastic place to start. And
okay, so 50-30-20 rule.
Yes.
And let's talk about that. What is the 50 rule?
So 50% of whatever comes into the household, right? And that's between everybody. If you're single or not married yet, right? Like me,
Mhm.
every single person should be accounting for the fact that only 50% of what you bring in should be spent on incidental, or sorry, rather, things like rent, things like groceries, lights, Wi-Fi, car
Essential.
payments, essentials. Exactly.
Okay.
And anything, right? Any and everything that fits in that category needs to be shrunken into that 50%. And that's where I find a lot of millennials fail. You know, unfortunately, people are spending 70, 80% of their income on their rent in Los Angeles. And
Come,
that's,
it's
you
my
know,
son right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't doubt it. I think it's not ideal, it is what it is, but living in potentially a lower cost community, people do have to kind of consider that move. And that might sound extreme to some people, but what would you rather have? Would you rather maybe suffer a little bit today and be comfortable in your retirement, or would you have to work would you rather have to work for the rest of your life? That's the
Mhm.
reality. Um, Another factoid, right, is that Social Security is being exhausted. It will be exhausted in my lifetime. I won't be able
Right.
to bank on Social Security. Not only that, Joanna, but a lot of people who are 1099s or business owners, they don't get
Yeah.
the same Social Security income benefits that a
Me.
regular W-2,
Mhm.
right? So not only that, pensions, again, for those of you guys who might be younger on the call, that might not even be a word that you've ever heard of unless
Right.
you have someone in your family with a pension. But,
Yeah.
those have been all but phased out, outside of pretty much state or federal jobs. Reason for that is we're living longer. Companies don't want to be paying somebody 20 years into their retirement, any portion of what they paid them during their working years. And reason for that is that our life expectancy, again, we're living longer. When
Right.
pensions were popularized, the average American worker only lived 2 to 3 years into their retirement before they passed away, which is staggering when you think about
Mhm.
it. But what happened was, again, companies caught wise and they saw, hey, people are living longer. We need to protect our bottom line and not be
Sure.
pulling these pensions out. So those have all but gone away. And that's really the three-legged stool of retirement, or the traditional three-legged stool, right? Pension, Social Security, and whatever you have saved. And so what my generation, even your generation as well, Joanna, is left with is we got to figure it out. You can't
Yeah.
be taking on someone else to take
Got to
care of.
be smarter in how we manage. So if 50% should be spent on our essentials,
Yes.
what would that 30% be allocated for?
30% what traditional advisors say, and this again, take it with a grain of salt. That's kind of like the fun stuff, right? Like that's the Disneyland trips, that's the pageant fund, that's all of the lifestyle stuff. And then the other 20% is investments slash emergency savings. And I say the traditional advisor would tell you that because technically that's the traditional rule. If I find that somebody is in such a significant deficit that we've got to like work extra hard, I will flip that 30 and 20%, and I will make it so that 20 or even 10% is the fund until I'm feeling like, okay, this client is in a better space. And then we can kind of, get less aggressive on saving and investing. And then again, that 10% is fun and the rest of it goes into emergency savings, investments, just making sure that we're kind of getting our heads above water before we go crazy with the fun stuff.
Right. So, and I noticed there you have 50% in essentials,
Mhm.
30% on fun and lifestyles, 20% on life and essentials. But where's our savings? Where are our
Oh,
investments?
sorry, the 20% is including savings and investments.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, advisors will kind of slice and dice however they need to. For myself, I actually do, again, less than 50% for my own essentials because I really try to be very smart and practice what I preach. I
Right.
actually have about 45 to 50% in savings, right? So I
Mhm.
really keep that essentials category very minimal for myself because I
Mhm.
want to, buy future properties, have other income streams. That's really
Sure,
my
sure,
goal.
sure.
And then about 10 to 15% for me is the fun and lifestyle stuff.
Yeah, wow. So, do you teach any workshops or do anything amazing for women in
Yeah,
teaching them how to be, strong, savvy independents?
absolutely. So I have actually an ongoing series that some of my colleagues at my firm have actually helped me put on. So it's not always just me that you get to hear from, but it's a series called Invest Like a Girl.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
everything I
See?
just went over, right? So the 50-30-20 rule, we talk about the different styles of investment, what are fixed accounts, what's an indexed account, what is a variable account. Again, if that sounds like mumbo jumbo, join my next my next call. Which again, so that's a series that I host. I've been hosting it semi-annually. I think I'm going to boost it to once a quarter, just because I do find that people, love when I do the seminar. Um,
Hmm.
and I also do host financial literacy workshops for youth as well. So I've been able to speak at multiple schools on Zoom. I've been able to speak at Zoom to multiple schools. And yeah, I love it. I think I'm also going to be doing a pageant series coming up, because I know not only are all of the topics that we've gone over been important, but I also have a lot of, I've been in this industry for about 16 years, pageants, right? not
Okay.
not every other.
So in that, let's bring this full circle.
Mhm.
Um, how is it that a girl that has been from one coast to the next, it has dual citizenship, an education that is bar none unique, delivers some really impeccable financial wisdom to all that she comes in contact with. How is it that you've had time for pageantry, and why has that been something that you have prioritized in your journey?
I'm the best version of myself when I'm competing.
Tell me about that. What is, that just gave me just the chills. Ooh, I love that.
Ooh, I'm
Mwah.
glad.
Tell me what that means.
Yeah, I started competing when I was 15, 16. And, that arguably, I think for a lot of us is kind of that point in your life, not only where you're figuring out who you're going to be, laying the groundwork for who you're going to be in the future, but I think it really is when you are at your most competitive, your most energetic, when you're just throwing yourself into stuff left and right. And pageants for me, I flopped my first public speech I ever gave. I completely blanked out every word after My Favorite American. This was at Miss American Co-ed pageants in like 2005, right? So this is very long time ago. And it really, what it did, Joanna, was that experience made me want to come back and be better. And that
To
next
hold you
year,
accountable.
yeah, it did. And I know, somebody mentioned this to me the other day, was that, sometimes people have that experience and they never want to speak on stage again. And I was like, oh no, I am not letting, that I'm not signing my name on that performance. Like, that is not going to be my final speech ever. I'm going to go back. I'm going to give a good speech. I'm just going to
Yeah.
get through it. That was kind of the goal initially, was I gotta get back on that stage. I'm not leaving that as my legacy. The girl who forgot and ran and cried in the bathroom for
Right.
2 hours. you know, Literally, that's what happened.
Your heart.
um, and so I came back that second year, and out of 300 girls, I got second runner up, and it was a sign. I was like, I worked really hard this second time around to make sure I was on it. I was on my game. I got
What
through
does
that.
your game mean? What are you on? Like, what is your point? What is your purpose? What is your principle? What is your why?
My why now, oh man, I want other people to be so inspired. I want people to know
Why?
you can do it all. Um,
What does that mean?
to me, what it means is getting back on your feet. Life, again, like I told you, it can hit you in the gut. It can make you feel like, oh man, I'm not good enough. It can do all kinds of things to your head. And what I instill in others, girls that I coach, is you got to get right back on that horse and just keep going until you accomplish whatever that goal is, right? For me and for you, even this past year, right? It's been pageantry. It's been, look, I want to be and accomplish the best version of myself I possibly can. And what that means is living a little bit of out of balance for a while. I think people are really uncomfortable with that concept of, oh, I need to live a very balanced life. That's only going to get you so far. Some years you got to push yourself to the limit. And I know that you do. I mean,
Oh,
even,
yeah.
we were texting about this earlier. You had one of the most full schedules today. Um, and you gotta be comfortable with being uncomfortable for a little while. And so that, I think, is my why. It really is that I frankly am the best version of myself. I do the most, I accomplish the most. I make sure to still have time with friends and family, the people I love in my
Mhm.
life. But, I want other people to taste that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for you. Ooh, taste that too. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And I think that when we really can answer our own why with that grace and that integrity, it's a wealth that is bar none.
Absolutely.
I know it has been for me, and I agree. When I look at my life, in a span, this has been the best year of my life, and I know it is everything to do with being part of the United States pageant system and being held accountable to not only say this is my dream and say this is what I'm going to do, but to make sure that I do it.
Yeah.
And the accountability has given me the results that really have unfolded bigger than I even thought they could.
Yeah.
And I think at one point, for me, I stopped even trying to create such plans because I realized when you just point in that right direction
Yeah.
and follow the signs,
And yeah.
there's no limits. And sometimes we can limit ourselves with these ideas, but when we just know we're going, and like you said, if we fall, we're getting back up, we're going.
Yeah.
If we didn't hit the mark, we're getting back up, we're going.
Fine.
And
Yeah.
when you have that sort of mentality, you flood life, and life floods you back with so much brilliance.
Mhm.
And my goodness, I just see it just shining and flooding all over you, and it's
Oh,
gorgeous.
thank you.
Gorgeous.
Well, that makes
So whether it's been Lyme disease or what, I'm grateful that you've had those pillars, those moments that sort of brought you to a space of,
yeah.
because I do believe that it's, like you said, shown you what you're made of,
Oh, yeah.
and that no matter what you're working through, you can continue and be whatever you choose to, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you've had significant setbacks and challenges. I mean, what was the highlight for you, not only in overcoming them, but then just becoming this beacon of light for others? What's been your highlight this year?
You know, um, independence.
Hmm.
Independence. I think I've relied on the charity and stability of others to support me. And there's been some pivots in this year that really gave me opportunity to stand on my own feet and to do that for myself and learn how to fulfill my own heart and to love myself. And in doing that, it makes when someone else puts a smile on your face that much better, right?
Absolutely.
Because you know what it takes to do that for yourself.
Yeah.
And so my independence and knowing that I can stand in a light, no matter what the adversity is, and have everything I need to take care of myself and to do it amazingly. And it doesn't
Oh,
help.
ooh, now I got goosebumps.
Well, it doesn't help when I get to stand next to successful, beautiful, empowered, surviving women in life like you that remind me if I ever waver, you guys are all like, no, 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 no.
That's true.
Right.
Got you. Yeah.
And it also has taught me that the difference between people of value in my life and people that have no value in my life.
Yeah.
And it took for me being surrounded by incredible diamonds to realize that that's all I ever want to be surrounded with.
Yeah.
and
A
um,
powerful
and I,
impact for
I'll
the
tell you what, you shine really bright when you're in that jewelry store.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. So on that note, let's just take a moment. I always ask
Yeah,
each person that passes through this space and time with me to, in your own way, with your own light, to just leave a moment of light, grace, a blessing, perhaps even a prayer, whatever that feels like for you. And if you could or would do that, how would you and would you do that now with me?
absolutely.
All right, go ahead, take it away.
Right. Well,
Shine bright.
always try to. I just wanted to thank not only you, Joanna, and the universe, and all of the energies around us for this incredible opportunity, this incredible moment in time to be able to share with others. And it's not common, it's not often thought of as important, right? But having these moments to share with one another and create these quality connections with ourselves, with our surroundings, and just sharing each other's light, I think is really so critical, so undervalued,
Yeah,
and something that, I've really cherished about this. I can't believe already we're at time, but just this moment we were able to take today. I'm so grateful to you, Joanna. I'm grateful to, again, the universe, energies around us, and this amazing sisterhood that we have. So,
absolutely. That we have and that we ask to be continually blessed and abundant with,
mhm.
and to allow, this light to create amazing rapture and give us what we need to continue to uplift and rise, but continually remind us just by facing our true north in the presence of each other, and knowing that when I am standing with you and fellow queens and fellow beautiful souls of this nature, you can't help but stand within a beautiful alignment, and just feel really good about that, and know that we're enough, and know that we have incredible ingredients to share. And it's not about competing with each other, it's about feeding each other,
Mhm.
and feeding each other our brilliance, because when we share our ingredients rather than hoard them and compete with them, we grow together, and that togetherness is what makes us strong and beautiful and radiant and brilliant. And, it's been a joy to grow with you, alongside of you, in the last few years, and to feel that when we chat, because it's such an authentic conversation where we can just be real, right? And we can ask questions and chat away,
Yeah,
that we grow together, and it's like picking up where we left off, even if, months have gone by,
totally.
or it's just a week. And to know that in the next couple weeks, when I see you again, that hug that
Yeah,
I'm
I
going to
can't
give you
wait.
is going to be so awesome. And when I see you shining in all of your glory, I'm just going to just send you beams of light from my heart. And just because when you love someone and you see them in such authentic space, you want them to succeed. And I know that we have that reciprocation, and that's what I truly feel makes us the truest of queens.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
speaking easy with me with love. It's been an absolute joy to end my day in this space, like you said. Thank you, universe. And thank you, Millie, for just saying yes to chatting it up with me. And I look forward to watching you unfold and sharing your passion and your light with all of us at Nationals in the next couple weeks. You really are special. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. Thank you.
Mwah. If you would like to reach out to Millie for any financial advice, or if you too feel like you might have some Lyme disease, or are also a survivor of that, where can they reach you and how do they find you? Can you make sure that after the show
Yeah.
you type in all of your social media handles and
Yeah,
just say hello to everyone from the comments?
absolutely will do.
Okay, thank you. And I can't help but ask if you could maybe share maybe some financial worksheets
Yes.
that would help. What did you call that workshop? You called it,
Oh,
what was
invest like a girl.
invest like a girl
Mhm.
and give some girls like me headway as to where we can find those workshops and be part of that series because I'm signing up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm more than happy to.
I'm ready and I need your help.
Yes.
So, okay. So I'm going to count on you to share that information with us. And
Yeah.
again, thank you so much for speaking easy with love. And I wish you the very, very, very blessed. That's right. That's
Thank
right. Right
you.
there. One love. Mwah. Thank you so much. My name is Joanna Traylove, and I'm your Miss Woman United States.
I am Millie Gergis, your reigning Ms. California, United States.
And we wish you a beautiful and blessed day. Take care, everyone. Peace.
Bye.